So over the course of the month, these are types of questions that we asked, right? Why does this topic interest you? What do you want to learn, right? That's really important. And why do you want to work in this format? We asked the students, what makes this a video? What makes this fiction? What makes this a podcast? What makes this a feature story? Why this format, right? Why this mode? The idea in fiction then, in the fiction group, was students started with a germ of an idea in week one. And over the course of the month, they fleshed out who the characters were, what the setting was, what the plot was, kind of what the themes were that they were trying to wrestle with. And I think each one of them really was able to develop that. Some of the students who are with us today ended up writing more of a nonfiction opinion piece, because as they were writing their story, they realized that it worked better nonfiction, right? So this is one of the lessons that we also try to impart. As a writer, you're not stuck to or wedded to how you begin your project, right? So you might have thought that it worked well as a piece of fiction, but actually it turns out your idea worked better in terms of nonfiction. But what I'd like to do right now is ask some of the students, we're gonna ask the students in a particular order to give a little bit of information about their piece and then read a selection from their piece. So Caitlin, would like to start with you.
So Kayla, she struggled like finding a coach that like believed in her, and she didn't get like the playing time that she deserved, and she still worked really hard. And like now she's gonna get her opportunity to do what she can do.
Yeah, so you'll be able to read the full Kayla story on the Right On Sports website. You'll be able to download that.
So what I did for my story was I decided to go from fiction to nonfiction, and then back to fiction. I felt like it would give the reader a different perspective on the journey that some African American females have to face, and how we have a lot of things in common.
The shift from the kind of the you to the nonfiction back to the you is all about trying to connect to the reader, right? Trying to really draw the reader in.
The title of my story is Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and it's about this boy named James who is trying to make a soccer team.
I am proud of Noah. His story really grew from what we had in the beginning. And I know Noah likes it. I know he's proud of his writing, especially the fact that he's writing different chapters for his piece, and he's still continuing to do that.
So Franco, do you want to share a little bit about your topic and kind of why you selected it, and then read us a passage from your story?
Yeah, so I wanted to compare players across decades, and I'm a fan of all sports, but I like hockey, so I decided to do it in that.
So this was a great example of a story that evolved over time.
So in order to find my main focus, I had to readjust my story, and I really liked my opening, so I tried to keep it and just added some rule changes, but they ended up not really working, but they did fit nicely with the story, but it still didn't make the introduction make sense, and then the conclusion didn't match, so I had to end up redoing my introduction basically.
So I was very interested in learning about sports that maybe not everyone knows and how they connect culture of a certain country. I picked oil wrestling from Turkey, Spitek Takraw from Malaysia, and Capoeira from Brazil.
And last year in camp, you wrote your feature story about something kind of similar,
Yeah.
but different, right? It was more like kind of these obscure sport competitions. And I'm really proud to see your growth from one year to the next, because here you really went the next step and made the connection between kind of these obscure sports and not just describing them, but then saying how they reflect culture of different countries. And we can better understand those countries by looking at these sports.
My feature story is about Black Lives Mattering in the NBA. So basically, with all the controversy going on in the world after what happened to George Floyd, and how the Black Lives Matter movement is stronger than ever, the NBA has been very supportive in helping and growing the Black Lives Matter movement. But there's different types of perspectives in the NBA.
You know, when we talk about right on sports, you know, yes, it's traditional sports. You know, you see it in these first three examples, right? We have a traditional sports story about hockey. We have an obscure sports story, and we have a story that connects to issues of social justice. And Hashim did a really nice job as he was figuring the story out about how to really craft what he wanted to say, about putting himself in the story, you know, really allowing his voice and what he wants to see kind of shape the story, which he kind of addresses in his conclusion.
Hi, my name is Drew, and I'm doing a story on the Rookie of the Year. They were bad last year, and they got good this year, and he's really helped the Grizzlies prosper.
Yeah, and I think that was the best part of that, what came from the process of your story, Drew, right? That, you know, you started with this idea, you're interested in these NBA rookies, they're an exciting rookie class, and you kind of had your mind set on, you know, which players you wanted to focus on, but then really thinking about what information you needed to share with the reader to convince them that your analysis made sense. And so going beyond the individual stats to what you said, really comparing the team before the rookie came to when the rookies are there, really made it a convincing argument.
So my story was about the Washington Redskins name change and how it's like really current and how it should be talked about more. And I think it's a good choice because about all the stuff that's happening in the society right now, like the Black Lives Matter movement and how changes are being made to certain, like it's being affected in sports greatly, and I just think it's a good topic to talk about.
This was a really timely story, as you shared, and one that had been written about a bit. And so I think the challenge for you was really not only organizing the history with the opposition, but also, you know, staying in real time with what's going on while also, you know, having your own voice in it. And it really came together nicely in your conclusion, where you shared, you know, really what you wanted to say about this. And so nice job with this. Thank you. The podcasting group was really learning alongside you. You know, I've done Right on Sports for a long time, but we've never done podcasting, as I said earlier. And so having this as a new option and seeing it develop was really exciting for me.
Hi, I'm Kayla.
And I'm Isaac.
Today on our podcast, we will be talking about who we think would win the NBA playoffs. The season ended a little after the middle of the season, and the rest of the NBA season will take place in
again, a really good example of kind of where they started thinking, you know, wanting to say something about the NBA restart, but then really going the next step and thinking about what information, what statistics, what quotes, what perspectives would be necessary in order to really convince the listener of their analysis being sound.
I know the last two podcasts about the NBA, but you have another one here. Ours is entitled T2 Basketball. It's a play on words, like a technical foul. T2 is like serious. But yeah, ours is basically entitled T2, and we took 2 tries at it and at recording, and then our second try is really good.
Again, good example of kind of like the two of you starting with a ton of basketball knowledge, right? And thinking about how best to structure your story in a way that was able to showcase your knowledge and analysis, but also maintain kind of your flair, your personality in a discussion format. So pretty cool.
My video is about how athletics help freshmen integrate into the high school. The idea sort of started out as me wanting to talk about how volleyball helped me in the high school and how it helped me throughout the school year with learning how to balance my work and extracurricular activities.
The most interesting thing for me working with Nia is how articulate she was in terms of the need for an outline, right? I mean, consistently Nia had her notebook out and was like, all right, I've got my outline, I'm working with my outline, you know, and even if it's evolving, that outline is there to kind of provide me with some structure. So not everybody likes to work with an outline. So Nia, you want to sell people on outlines?
I found that working with an outline helped me when I didn't know what to do, because I would refer back to it and maybe change a few things, and then I'd know exactly what I needed to do.
I don't know that there's any going back to the videos that we had in the past, right? It feels like in the past, the videos were so, sort of loosey-goosey, but I think the students this summer have really set a new bar on what can be accomplished in video. And I think it's going to pave the way for students in the future to really raise their game when it comes to video making. That's the end of the summer, but it's not the end of Right on Sports. So, and we don't have to wait until next summer for Right on Sports activities. So our goal is in the fall to start running some once-a-month workshops where students can, again, pick a project and work on that project over a longer period of time. But hopefully September, October, we'll be able to start this kind of once-a-month workshop. And I look forward to working with you all as part of that.